Selling with vision and vigilance. Love sales. Let's talk about it. So I finally got around to watching this Robert Herjavec, the guy from Shark Tank. He was talking. Okay, so I know this reflection. So he was talking about selling, and it took me no time to get into it. I knew there might be some hard truths coming that I wasn't ready to deal with, but I had to hear. It made myself sit. I made myself sit through the whole thing. And I'm honestly glad I did because this guy really broke down selling, why selling is the highest paid profession in the world. And I've learned more about myself than people around me through sales more than almost anything. Let me tell you what really hit me. First thing, you got to dream way bigger than you think you should. Robert was talking about how he built his whole life around work-life balance thing by setting these crazy audacious goals and then going after them relentlessly. Second, sell something every single day. I'm not talking about just if you're actual, and I'm not talking about just if you're pushing actual products or whatever, whether it's a widget or just the value you bring to a meeting. The act of selling sharpens how you think and builds this momentum. That's hard to explain. He kept coming back to momentum, saying that constant forward motion is what fuels confidence and creativity. Third thing, gotta rewrite that paragraph. Third thing that got me was understanding your numbers inside and out. You watch Robert on Shark Tank and he's drilling these entrepreneurs on margins, burn rate, projections, and all that stuff. He gets straight up blunt when the math doesn't add up. And then there's something powerful about that clarity. But what surprised me was how much heart he actually puts into those questions. Like he's upfront that he's doing it for the money, but he genuinely cares about the stories and the people behind the pitches. The balance of head and heart reminded me that even these visionaries chasing big returns are still pouring their whole selves into the work. Last thing, sleep on the big decisions. If you're too close to something, it's hard to see the risks and opportunities clearly. Giving yourself that gift of rest and perspective often brings insights you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Sometimes your subconscious works better than your conscious mind. I walked away feeling inspired to stretch my vision bigger, make selling an everyday habit, get crystal clear on my metrics, and honor my gut by giving it tough choices a night to marinate on. But what about you, though? What bold goal are you going to dream up this week? And how are you going to test those selling skills? Hit me back with your plan. I'm genuinely curious about what you're thinking. All right, so that was the reflection. It's on Substack. Link is in the description. So one thing that I noticed that was a standout moment for Robert on Shark Tank was there was this one time where he was like, there's a bunch of times actually, even the co-host would say this. He's like, yeah, if you come to Robert, he's always gonna ask like, where's the money? It's all about the money. And there was one particular time where he was talking to an entrepreneur and he was like, yeah, I understand you want, some funding for this, but like, I need the money. Like, where's the money? And then behind that, it was interesting. He kind of like put his heart into it. He was like, look, blah, 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 blah. He started getting emotional, which was interesting because growing up, at least in the area that like, I started to get into, money could be seen as the root of all evil, depending on how you look at the Bible verse. And then, even beyond that, actually, when you talk to certain people, there's a reason why when you meet someone for the first time or you go on a date for the first time, you don't talk about money and like there's other things you probably shouldn't talk about. There's a reason why. And part of it is that there's like an emotional aspect to money. That's one thing I started to realize this year, is that there is sometimes an emotional aspect tied to it. And if you're able to better like handle yourself and control what you can control in life, you can make as much money as you want. But it's interesting because this guy's a billionaire, multi-millionaire, and he hangs around other billionaires, and here he is like he's being human. And that was one thing that stood out to me. The other thing was he was saying you want to dream big. Now that's something I've heard a couple times from a couple different people, is you want to dream big and you want to dream so big that people think you're crazy. If people don't think you're crazy after you tell them your dream, you're not thinking big enough. And I've heard that line particularly from billionaires. Billionaires particularly say they want to do the impossible. As a matter of fact, didn't Henry Ford say that too? Or like one of the early business tycoons, they were saying something like, dream so big, or he did the impossible or something like that. Yeah, it was Henry Ford. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the art of selling itself. Every time I've had a sales job, or every time I wanted to, particularly a sales job, every time I had one, I've learned so much about myself and the world. So much more than reading a book, so much more than formal education. It was, I don't know, like when they say selling is the world's oldest profession, at least one of them, like I believe that, because there's a certain power that comes from like when you're doing the thing and when you're acting itself, when you're acting out the thing and you're doing it, and then like all this wisdom just comes to you. Like I really enjoy what selling has brought to me, and that's the reason why I chose to do marketing and selling as my overall profession in life, on top of branding, is because everything is sales. Everything is sales. Everything. Life is sales. You want to know your numbers inside and out. I mean, that's personal finance 101. Know your numbers inside and out. So that's something I'm getting better at every single day. It's like I look at, my statements, your bank accounts, you look at it every day. You don't harp over it. Obviously, there's more things to life than just money. Take care of your health and take care of your family, type shit. So like there's more things in life than money, but at the same time, it's like, this is the subject we're talking about. And yeah, so we're gonna watch more videos from him, probably do some more commentary over that. So look out for that, and we'll put more. If you want to hear some more of my thoughts, but I want to hear your thoughts. Let's talk about money in the comments. I love talking about what money can do for people. As this medium of exchange, as this fiat. Let's talk about some fiat